Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to the first GSL Qualifier match that we're going to be casting here on this channel. It's going to be Gumiho versus Hero. Yes, the GSL is back, baby. Season 1 qualifiers have recently been played and the replay pack has been released. And that can only mean one thing. We're going to be going over lots and lots of those replays. Rumor on the street is that we're going to be playing 2 GSL seasons within about 3 months, because all of this needs to be done before the Esports World Championships, as GSL will be providing spots into the Esports World Championship. So 2 seasons will be leading into that EWC as some type of... I mean, it's a tournament by itself, obviously, GSL, but it also functions as a qualifier for that World Championship. Important, GSL is only going to be having 12 spots this year. I believe previous years that still was 16. I could be wrong about that. Would have to fact check myself, but I'm a lazy Protoss player, so fact checking is not on my to-do list right now. Hero seemingly opened up with a fast scout here in this game. This is something that he has been doing in the past, where he'll send his first probe, legitimately his first probe. You spawn, boom. The probe that spawns over here gets selected, gets sent across the map, and afterwards he builds a worker. This means he's going to have the fastest possible probe scout, with which he often can block the barracks being built in the wall. Gumiho, as a response here, is going to lose quite a bit of cash chasing that probe around, making sure he doesn't lose any workers. He didn't lose any workers, did take a bit of damage on 2 SCVs, probably had to pay a little bit in repair cost as well, and his barracks, of course, is out of position, forcing the CC in the wall. Now, how much does this really delay Hero in the early game? It is often hard to say. This gateway actually was at a very decent timing. The Nexus usually is delayed by 6-7 seconds compared to not having such an early scout. It is just very, very pricey to send your first probe straight away across the map. I mean, you only have 12 workers at the start, so it's was it like 8% of your income that you're missing basically for the first 12 seconds, and then you know that percentage gets a little bit lower the more and more workers you get, but you get my point. Either way, Nexus is going to finish up, and that makes its way across the map, as this CC is going to finish out here as well. Gumiho will just be safe against the first adapt. Yeah, just the way that it is. Is this going to be a siege tech first? No way, right? Ooh, Cyclone. This is interesting. So this was a barracks into factory, into Cyclone, and then the follow-up here is going to be a medevac out of this starport. This particular build has been played an awful lot by another Korean Terran player called Cure. This has actually been his favorite build for the past 3-4 weeks. I guess that's where Gumiho is getting his inspiration from. The reason why I believe that this build is quite powerful is because it is pretty catch-all. If you're playing against a Phoenix opener, this is a fine opener. If you're playing against a Blink opener, this is fine as well. You can still put on at least a little bit of pressure. So imagine you're going for a mine drop, for example. You're opening up with a Marine into factory. You have no Reaper Scout. You don't know what your opponent's tech is. And your opponent is actually opening up with a Stargate. You fly in with your double mines in your little medevac. Lol, gonna kill some probes. Boom. 3 Phoenixes waiting at home for you. What are you gonna do about it? Well, honestly, not a whole lot. You're gonna lose your medevac. You're gonna lose your mines. However, if you move across the map with... usually you go with the 1 Cyclone and 6 Marines. You go on the main base, and if it's 3 Phoenixes, you can just fly away and you can defend your own medevac with the 6 Marines and a Cyclone. That is no problem. However, Cyclone here isn't actually being added into this medevac. It's just going to be a naked 7 Marine drop. Now, Blink is still a little bit away from finishing up. Gumiho is going to try to deal some damage, but he's not going to succeed. I really prefer the 6 Marine 1 Cyclone. I guess Gumiho wanted to keep the Cyclone at home. This could be for 2 reasons. 1, scout denial. 2, in case there is an Oracle showing up at an off timing, it is nice to have that Cyclone for Oracle defense, of course. So that is something that they could be keeping in mind here, afraid of the classic Hero Oracle. There is no bunker at home. Blink is finishing up in 10-15 seconds. Prism not on the way quite yet. Gonna get an eBay at home. Tank now sieging up. I think defensively this is a fine setup, but when the Prism arrives, I really do believe we're going to need a bunker here on the low ground. We're going to need a second tank. That won't be done in time to deal with this particular Blink-in. This isn't the scariest Blink-in. It's going to be just 7 Stalkers, but you still always have to be very, very careful, even against low numbers of Stalkers, because things can snowball very quickly when you're playing against Protoss. Like, you lose your first tank, the next Blinken is going to be much more powerful. Alright, this was actually a pretty stellar defense here out of Gumiho, who's quickly... Oh my god. This is such a fast stim. Look at that 530 stim. That's insane. Let's drop a depot here, because you forgot to macro for a little bit. I'm expecting the combat shield to start fairly quickly after this as well, or behind this. We have no extra gas. It's going to send out a 7 marine drop. This is a risky move, but a move that could potentially pay off. Why is this a risky move? If Hero were to commit into a position and you only have 4 or 5 marines there, you lose a tank. Life is genuinely going to suck, alright? Life is genuinely going to suck. However, if you get this 7 marine drop across the map into a main base, best case scenario for the Protoss is that he'll recall back home and loses nothing. Worst case scenario for the Protoss is he's going to lose a bunch of workers, might even get like a cancel here on a battery or a kill on a pilot. At the same time, Gumiho's actually going to send everything across the map. He says, hey, you're going to jump into my main base. I have this marine flank coming across the map. It's not actually going to catch the stalkers. I'm going to run across with a bunch of marines, 3 tanks, a cyclone, and a crap ton of SCVs. This is double medevac as well. This is such a weirdly hard-hitting marine tank push before the first Colossus is out. This is hitting like a truck. There's no charge either. Gateway count is only at 3 as Gumiho hits over here. And I think that Hero just doesn't have the forces necessary to deal with this threat. First Colossus still 15 seconds away from finishing up. There is a battery here, but it's empty. This Colossus is not going to have thermal lance, which means that tanks are going to be phenomenal against it. As long as the Marines don't just get swiped away by the Colossus, I think this is going to be extremely difficult here for Hero to actually hold. You still have a decent amount of Marines. You never want to go down to like 4 or 5 Marines, because in that case Zealots are going to be too good against the tanks. But if you have like 10, 12 Marines behind the tanks, you can just let the tanks do the hard work. More and more units are being sent across the map. We have no SCV production behind this. Even mules aren't really being utilized. I guess Gumiho is afraid of DTs potentially showing up. It's the only thing I can really imagine. eBay must have been a fake. Now we get a little bit of SCV production here as well. Cyclone latches on. Oh, Gumiho, you don't have to do this. You don't have to try and kill that Colossus. I actually think it's a risky move. Dark Shrine is going to get built here, but I think it will be just a little bit too late. Natural's gonna get smacked down. And now we're going to see Hero in trouble at his 3rd base as well. I think this is already fine for Gumiho. Gumiho is about even in supply right now. Infrastructure is not necessarily brilliant for Hero, so you can just warp in 10 Zealots here. This 3rd base is in some trouble, but even if this 3rd base survives and Hero were to hold at this point, I much prefer Gumiho's position. He's adding in a couple of Vikings as well, without a reactor, sadly for him. So it's just going to be 1 Viking at a time. These Marines still don't have combat shield either. He's not quite mining enough gas for that. Would love to see a bit of extra gas mining, just in case. Let's take a look at the target firing here on the tanks. Is it good? It's fine. It's not great. This Colossus hasn't actually received any big tank hit. A lot of Marines are going to go down, but Hero will lose the 3rd base. And without a 3rd base, without these extra workers, I mean, Gumiho has achieved his goal. He doesn't need anything else. He can just hang out near his tanks. He can rally into this position. He could rally back home. He could start a 3rd base. He has a lot of cash in the bank. And he could also just continue pushing in forward. Like, he can do a lot of defensive things, but he probably can also kill his opponent. How many mules do we have over here? Oh, actually, this is a little bit scary. Gonna get 40 Ts across the map. I love that Hero is sending them across the map rather than keeping them home. He could try to use them to defend against this and kill these tanks, but actually his win condition is killing a lot of SCVs and probably even killing a base. We right now have 0 scans. This is still going to be close. This sounds dumb, but this could be close. If we get another triple DT warp in over here, maybe a sentry to hold this ramp, this is going to be potentially close. If he snipes the turrets, there's a single scan. He just used it. He just used the 1 scan that he had. He used it for the high ground. He has no scans. He has no scans out right now. Turrets are coming down, as our good friend is going to move up onto the high ground. When is our next scan available? Next scan is available right now. It will need to be used aggressively, I guess, because these DTs are going absolutely ham. Colossus dealing a lot of damage as well. 3 DTs are going to be kept alive. It's so important that these DTs don't die right now. This could turn into a base trade, a full-on base trade. That turret's gonna get sniped. There's no defenses right now. Tanks are gonna get taken out as well. Alright, if this Nexus goes down, worst case scenario for Gumiho is a draw. Worst case scenario, because there's not enough money to rebuild this. The worst case scenario right now is absolutely a draw. The question is, Is Hero going to be capable of forcing a lift here on this base? I think that should be the complete priority right now. We could, of course, build turrets somewhere on the map. There's enough cash for turrets. Maybe the eBay should have been priority. Oh, he's killing more and more SCVs. We got a random scan over here. If he clears this turret... Oh, there's a turret. No, Hero. This turret is so important. This turret is the difference between life and death. If he can get it... Oh my god, look at this. Look at the whole position micro. Look at the whole position micro. There's only a single SCV remaining. He needs to snipe this SCV. Scan comes in. If he had sniped this SCV, this would have been a win. Or a draw. What a ridiculous first game that we're watching here. We have this thing flying over. He can cancel the +1 and start a Raven, I think, can't he? But the turret is up. And with the turret being up, you fly your command center over here. You're probably fine. Dude, we were a single SCV away from this turret dying and this entire army dying. If this army dies, there's no way to kill the DTs anymore. I guess the only thing you'd need to do is that you just would have needed a single Banshee because there's no anti-air. So actually a single Banshee would have been good enough. Or even putting one Marine in a medevac. You fly all your buildings and then you drop the Marine on different sides and you just attack the buildings like 1 damage at a time basically. Until all of them go down. It's a lot of work, but I think you could probably do it. Although if a single DT ends up hitting you, then it would be close. Like right now the game is actually over. I don't think... Ooh. Oh no, wait, he can turn into 2 Archons. I hadn't considered it. I hadn't considered this. Archons are anti-air. And there was no money for Cloak. Is this enough to break this? I hadn't considered DTs could turn into Archons. Oh, if the wall finishes, this is still over. But the wall's not going to finish. Okay, here comes Hero. Here comes Hero. There is Stim. Let's take a look at this micro. DT needs to go for the tank. DT needs to go for the tank. All of these Marines are going down at a very high pace. Let's start chasing. This is a draw. It's a draw. It's an actual draw. I cannot believe this. It's not... Okay. Maybe it's not a draw. He needs to get this building to burn, right? So, worst case scenario here for Hero. What would that be? The worst case scenario is mules drop, new units get produced, right? So you want to split the command centers. That is a given. You want to split the command centers. Archon wants to deal damage against this orbital, so it starts burning. Oh my god, what an insane game. I cannot believe I forgot about the Archon possibility. What a brilliant call. This is so close to burning. I think the burning is at 30... Is it 33%? No, then it would be 500. I think it's like 600 when it starts burning. It's like a weird number. Okay, attack it, attack it. How many shots do we need for it to burn? 2 more. Maybe it is 500? Oh, it is 33%. 1 more. 2 more. 2 more shots. 2 more shots. 2 more shots. 1 more. He doesn't get it. It doesn't burn. It's 1 shot away from burning as the Zealots are now chasing this. We still have a DT around. This one Zealot's gonna go down. He did not lose a Marine for it. He can add in 3 more Marines or a Marauder or a Mine. Ooh, I think a Mine is better because a Mine is gonna net you a guaranteed kill. Oh, he's got a wall. Oh, he gets the wall. He flies the CC over. That's it. He gets the wall. He flies the CC over. That's it. Archon now needs to come back to clear this thing. Archon needs to come back to clear that thing. And one thing you could do is send a DT to start smashing the wall. So you force the drop on one of these. Okay, Zealot goes to this orbital command. This is my thinking. Zealot goes to this orbital command. So if it lands, you smash it, it starts burning. Archon goes over here. And then the DT starts smashing this wall. I think that is the perfect split. That's what he's doing. Except the DT needs to be smashing the wall as well. If you get like 2 hits on this, it's gonna start burning. He needs it. Oh no, he's gonna barely miss it. He's gonna barely miss it. He's not gonna deal enough damage to this either. He needed to act faster. What a ridiculous game. What an honestly ridiculous game. Okay, here comes the DT. That's 1 smash. Oh! The lift! He saw the Invis unit. What a ridiculous game. Gets the mule. And we now have 4 Marines. We have a Hellion. And there's no pressure whatsoever here on Gumiho to do anything. Gumiho, however, doesn't need pressure to start moving out on the map. He says, hey, actually, I have a couple of units. I think I have enough where I can kill you. I'm not sure why we're doing this. To me, this is just a straight up mistake. Okay, Archon's gonna get the final hit, so it is 33%. So if you drop below 33% of the building health, that's when it starts burning. I didn't even know this. That's how infrequently I play these scenarios. And how infrequently I think of burning Terran buildings. This thing is going down, guaranteed, but it doesn't matter. Actually, you know what the correct play is here? Is trying to land this just to throw down the mules in your main base. If you can do that, then you're still getting like 700 extra minerals. 600 extra minerals. 675 extra minerals. So yeah, I appreciate that this is what he was trying to do. Can he get it? Oh, barely too late. Maybe he managed to land one mule? I didn't see the energy disappeared. Okay, now we have a turret up as well. Yeah, we have the turret up. We have the full wall. At this point, I don't think there's anything anymore that can be done, because you can repair the wall. The Archon can shoot through the wall, but I don't think it has enough DPS. Or enough range, really. Like, the Viking can just hold position on a distance. SCV? I don't know what the question is. Maybe he's asking how many SCVs he had? The key moment was here with this turret. I can't believe they're just having a friendly chat in game 1 of the GSL Qualifier. That's insane. It's insane. What a legit insane game. Oh. If we had sniped that one SCV before the scan hits, there's no SCV to build the turret there. So you need to... Basically, what you don't have to morph into Archons to break the position anymore. So you can just run around with DTs, chasing orbitals. And then I think you can stop them from landing at some point, or you just smash them. It becomes like a really hard situation for Gumiho. I'm not even sure how the micro would work there. I mean, that is... What an insane game. And I think this is the type of game as well, where you see who has very good in-the-moment decision-making. I think both of them showed absolutely world-class decision-making there. Yes, things probably could have been done better, but they completely understood what needed to happen. Gumiho splitting the orbital commands ASAP, going for that wall of in the main base. After Hero realized that the DTs weren't going to work, morphing into Archons, that is a tough call to make. Because one of your biggest upsides is that you actually have those invisible units. So I really think that the way that Hero played that was... Well, it just was amazing. I do wonder if it would have been better to just morph a single Archon. Tank with the Archon when you move in, and then have like 4 DTs, so you have more splitability. You can always still morph into an Archon later on. It is scary, because Archon, shields, they do bring a lot to you. If he doesn't lose the first Archon, if he morphs too, he doesn't lose the first one, he can also still split quite well. And I think he might be capable of clearing the orbitals much faster and doing something there. That's a ridiculous game. Legit ridiculous game. I mean, that's just crazy. I love when you have these types of games that aren't born out of a long late game as well. This was like, it ended up being a 14-minute game, but it had action for a 45-minute game. I love these types of games. Super action-packed. Wow. I'm just so impressed there by how that was played out. Really, really sick stuff. Also, just to go back, because the build that Gumiho played is something that I haven't seen before, executed in that particular manner. Just focus on high factory unit count. So we had like Cyclone, triple tank, moving across the map without second tech lab, just stim, at the timing where 3-gate blink is really weak, because either they're adding in the extra infrastructure to go into charge, so you're fighting into a toss that hasn't done a single warp in yet, or they have a Colossus like 70% on. Like, this timing is super tight. You hit 15 seconds later with this, you're going to look like a complete idiot. However, with the sharpness with which Gumiho hit, I don't want to say this looks unbeatable, but this looks really tricky to deal with. Really, really tricky to deal with. This also looks tricky to deal with, by the way. Here, just walking across the map with a sentry and a stalker, and it's going to kill 2 Marines here. Force full evacuation from the low ground. Has a force field with this force as well. I mean, this ain't necessarily looking great here for Gumiho. This is looking quite bad for Gumiho. Gonna get another force field. It's going to allow him to retreat. as well as deny mining from the low ground for another, what, 15 seconds or so. How long does a force field last? 9 seconds? 12 seconds? A force field lasts too long when you're playing against it and too short when you're the one doing it. That's what it always feels like to me, at least. Yeah, what are we playing this time around? It's going to be a 2-racks. Actually, a pretty similar build order. It is going to be Banshee? It's a similar opener, not a similar build order. He's going very heavy on the gas here. Look at that. Second gas. That's a crazy timing for a second gas. What is that for? He's not building anything from this... Oh, he's supply block. Painful. Very, very painful. What do we have coming out of Hero here? He's going for 4 gas, Forge pre-third base. It's always so funny to me when I watch this type of build order. Like, if someone were to tell me, it's like, hey Harstem, I have this new build where I go Forge before third base. I go like, hey, that sounds like a pretty crap idea, to be honest. Majority of the time, Forge before third base, what it does, it delays your third base by maybe 40, 50 seconds, and it only pulls up your upgrade by about 20, 30 seconds, or maybe 40 seconds. So it's way worse for you to delay your third base than it is for you to delay your upgrade. Because if you're delaying your third base, you're getting major oversaturation on this base. So you're losing a lot of like just straight up mining. And also you're going to be down like 4 or 5 workers if you have like a 50-second delayed third, right? Because a worker takes 12 seconds, you can chrono them. So yeah, usually you can get about like a worker every 9 seconds or so if you somewhat consistently chrono on him. Now, majority of the time I'd say, hey, getting a Forge pre-third base, not really worth it. There is one scenario in which it is worth it, and that is going to be when you're going for a, what I call like a mid-probe count, +1 timing attack. So if your goal is to hit a very quick +1 timing, sometimes maybe even a 1-1 timing, off of like a 55 worker count, that is something that you can perhaps do. Ooh, these medevacs are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Oh, hard place almost manages to take it down. Rock is still down there as well, but medevacs are safe. So, by this logic that I just described, I'm expecting Hero to do something with this +1 when it finishes. Because if he doesn't go for a specific timing, he just wasted 300-400 minerals in mining, maybe even more, and 3-4 probes as well. That could have been there earlier. So, yeah, it is an expensive thing to do, this fast forge, which is why often to lower level players, I wouldn't recommend it so much. Recommend getting a slightly faster third base. Most of the time their timings just aren't sharp enough to really justify getting that Forge pre-third. I'm really curious to see what Hero's going to do with it though. I really am. He's quite an intelligent player and he's someone that's very aggressive. It's now the 60 probe count. He's going to defend over here. Nice movement. Very nice movement. I wonder if he can actually hold this. You're a force field away in that type of case from killing 3-4 Marauders. I'm not saying 3-4 Marauders is game over, but it's going to make taking map control extremely difficult for the Terran player. No concussive shell yet, it actually hurt it. What? I clicked around in the replay for another 20-25 seconds or so after my what to figure out why Gumiho left. And I couldn't really find anything happening to his eco, as in nothing was happening to his eco, supplies were still even. The one thing that did happen is that while he was microing his main army, he accidentally used the all army hotkey and flew both of his medevacs that were on the bottom side of the map into the 3 stalkers that were still over there. So he lost 1 medevac and he was probably about to lose his second medevac. The second medevac only had 3 marines in it, so he would have gone down to 101 supply against, I think it was 106 for Hero. I mean, it wasn't a great position, but I think it is a relatively quick leave in, especially if you're playing a qualifier. To me, like, on the ladder, you know, you've had a crap day, you lost the Protoss 7 times in a row. This is game number 8. I have a lot of empathy, you know? I have a lot of empathy for that. But here, I don't entirely understand this this fast GG. It seems like an odd move. And perhaps Gumiho underrating his position. Hero did not have a forward base. Hero had even worker count to his opponent. 5 barracks were already done on the side of Gumiho, which means his production is going to be basically in tip-top shape up until the point where he's going to throw down like a forward base and gets that mining. So I think in like a minute and a half, if he doesn't die to a single Colossus push, He's going to be up by about 15, 20, 25 supply, despite losing the medevacs. So I'm raising my shoulders in a questioning motion as we humans do. Sadly, you guys can't see it because the camera isn't on, but I'm a little bit confused. I just don't quite understand it. Maybe it's like something to the mental preservation. The qualifiers can be pretty like mentally draining, tough days. And you could say, hey, I don't want to waste any more time in a game, like any more energy in a game where I believe my chance of winning is lower than X%. That could be, something he told himself he would do. It's like, hey, if I find myself in a game against a superior player, which Hero is, and I believe my chances of winning are lower than X%, I am not going to be wasting any time there today because I feel like my energy will run out and the end result might be that I play some really close games or I might almost make a comeback in one of the games, but I will play worse StarCraft overall because I'm playing more in a row. And if I play more like 5 hours in a row, I feel like I'm getting worse. If that is the case, then that is completely possible. And I think that might be something that he might be a decision that he made about this particular tournament. I'd be shocked by that because Gumiho usually is a player that tends to go, for every bit of advantage, he just kind of stays in and keeps going. So it's hard to say. But this is the most, this is the Steelman version of him leaving the game early, basically. I think that is the only real explanation I can give here. Because I don't think the situation was bad enough to justify a leave. This is good control on the initial unit. Ooh, this is actually very good control on the initial unit. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Gumiho preserving that mental energy. Look at that, gets a free adapt for it. It's going to follow this up with a double mine drop. Double mine drop for Marine. And has has a double Reaper still alive. There we go. Took a little bit longer than I intended that sentence to last. So really he's going to have 2 forks in this attack. I don't think you really want to borrow that. Could be wrong. Oh, he's gonna leave the Marines at home. He's really afraid of an Oracle for some reason. I don't think he should be. I really don't think he should be. So yeah, there's going to be a 2-forked attack here. One into the main, then we have the Reaper right now getting a snipe on the 3rd base. Could potentially still go into the natural as well. This is something that Hero frequently does, is a battery at the front. That helps him defending this ramp and defending the gate, but it makes it difficult against things like Hellion or Hellion Reaper run-bys if they target down probes in the mineral line. So like, it's a trade-off, right? There's no correct answer here. Like, both of them, they help against different types of openers. So just something to keep in mind. Where did my mine drop go? Okay, mine drop just did absolutely nothing. It's just gonna go back home. Hero's opting for the fast 3rd. And here we're gonna see, this is what I was talking about. So this is Forge post 3rd base. So you just have a much faster 3rd base. And just a slightly delayed +1. Whether it's going to be attack or armor, I don't know. It usually depends a bit how Zealot heavy you're going to be initially. Nowadays, I feel like attack is just more common because Stalker counts are growing in the early game of Protoss. Like, if you're going 13, 14 Stalkers early game, I'm expecting +1 attack. And sometimes even when you're playing Charge, well, you're always playing Charge, but if you're going like heavy Zealot stuff, people like going for attack upgrades because they want to use those Zealots for run-by, so they do a little bit more damage more quickly. It's not so much about the resilience of the Zealot. Oh, this is a beautiful pick-off here. This is a beautiful pick-off. None of these units... Oh, one of them is gonna die. This guy's gonna run back. I wonder if he gets to go home. No, he doesn't get to go home. There's plenty of Stalkers out on the map. You don't get to go home. What is the follow-up here for Gumiho? It's just 3 racks. Double tank, sorry. It's not single tank. And relatively quick double medevac as well. This actually is hitting like a brick train. A train made of bricks. A train filled with bricks. A freight train. There you go. It's hitting like a freight train. That's what this is going to hit like. It's going to go for a double drop. So the reason you go for the double drop is usually to try and catch the Stalkers. In this case, the Stalkers are an imaginary threat because they're not out on the map. So you move out with your main army. Stalkers are here. They're kiting. Boom. Make this motion, poop, like a swooping come from behind. motion with your secondary army and you can catch him. Okay, it's just going to go for another SCV pool. I think it's not a bad play. I legitimately think SCV pools are one of the more underrated strategies currently in the meta game. I think they're very powerful against 3-gate blink openers, especially against these like... This is not a Colossus rush. This is a kind of a late Colossus timing post 8-gate. So you're still defending this with pure charge lot. And that is just going to be difficult. This is not going to be a good fight here whatsoever for a hero. This is going to be a really bad fight for a hero because these sellers are just walking into the SCVs. SCVs tanking all of the damage. Immortal's going to get taken out. Bad set of force field. That set, well, the final force field is going to help, but the tanks are just going to move on forward. The supplies are 86 to 89 as Gumiho here with another tight SCV timing is just going to straight up clear his opponent. More reinforcements coming across the map. Hero supply looks good, but the supply is a lie over here. Ooh, I say that. Zealot flank actually is a little bit scary. You have a random Immortal in the natural. Colossus now on the way as well. Good stim here as the tanks are tanking a lot of the damage. Not usually what they're made for. Immortal target fire is very good as this tank is going to fall. But are the Zealot counts big enough? There is no backup pylon for this Colossus, and that is going to be an issue because with that Colossus, I actually think that Hero might be capable of holding. I think even without that Colossus, Hero might be capable of holding. It's going to be so freaking close over here. As Colossus now pops out, it's going to get sniped instantly. Pop perhaps on the wrong side of things. As Marauders stay alive. Look at that. They have like half an HP remaining here. Can we get some pickup micro going perhaps? Concussive shells helping out a lot. As there's no cash anymore for follow-up Colossus. There's not enough cash for really anything. You get a Guardian Shield. This pylon is helping so much for rapid warp-ins in front, but it's just barely not enough. What an insanely close game here. These probes are still out on the map. They're not mining. Income is, as a result of that, in favor of Gumiho here as he's doubling his opponent's supply. And Hero is going to be losing this first GSL Qualifier match against Gumiho. And an insane set of games, especially game number 1. Really, mainly game number 1. Let me rephrase it. If you've seen game number 1, the other 2 games are going to be a bit disappointing in comparison. But good lord, what a game that game number 1 was. And what a beautiful strategy here once again in game 3 out of Gumiho. As Hero can't believe it. He's staying in with 25 supply. He does not need to preserve his mental energy. He's going to attack Marines with his probes. GG gets called and Gumiho with a 2-1 victory in quite an upset.